All right, well, welcome everyone. I'm really excited to see the student panelists today. It's so fun to have students participate with us over the summer. I just want to take a quick minute to introduce myself. My name is Marissa Atencio. I'm the Director for Global Education here at Oglethorpe, and I'm just super excited to be here and talk about global education with my colleague and let her introduce herself and her team as well.
Unmuting first lesson of Zoom. Hi everyone, thank you so much for attending today. My name is Erin Sherrill. I am the Director for Career Development, and I am super excited for fall and what fall will bring, and really excited to expose you to these amazing students that we have. You'll get to meet them in a few minutes, and for you to ask us lots of questions about how you can engage outside of the classroom. And please, yes, use the chat. Thank you for starting that. And I'll let Nicole introduce herself really quick as my colleague in career development.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nicole Kang. I am the Employer Relations Manager in Career Development. I actually graduated from Oglethorpe University in 2013. I studied visual arts, and I loved OU so much, I came back to work here. So welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Great. Well, we do have a presentation because we're a big fan of visuals, and it makes it a lot easier for us to stay on track and guide this conversation with our students that we'll have a little bit later. Our hope is to just introduce high level a few things about experiences that you can participate in as a student, and really focus a lot of this time on the panel and the student experiences. So you'll hear more from students than you will from Erin and I. And with that, oh, it says host has disabled participants screen sharing. So if Katie, I can do a quick request to allow me to screen share. Wonderful. All right. I just want to be sure that everyone can see. If I can get a thumbs up from my group. Wonderful. Okay. So global education. So I did a quick hello and introduced myself very briefly, but I do want to highlight that global education at Oglethorpe is about learning experiences that connect you to the globe, to the world. So it can be internship or study abroad. It could be local experiences that leverage Atlanta and leverage the communities around us that help us build connections with our communities, but really self-awareness and connections to the world and to what the challenges, the unique challenges and opportunities are out there outside our door. Oh, our wonderful transitions didn't save. So I want to highlight that for additionally, beyond study abroad, Oglethorpe works with students who have a variety of immigration statuses. So that includes a lot of supporting students with immigration, acclimation to campus, connecting students to resources. So my work in Oglethorpe can extend to every part of the globe, connecting US students, connecting with immigrants in the US, and encouraging all individuals to expand their worldview and gather some perspective of the world. So I'm gonna skip past the rest of that slide. It's really what I just said. The key thing is credit bearing, non-credit bearing, connecting through relationships. All of those things really are global learning. And you may have an interest that's different than your peer. All of those things are available when you're a student at Oglethorpe, leveraging the student body, our Atlanta community, and our partnerships around the world. So there is no one size fits all. That's the key to global education. If you're looking specifically related to study abroad, which I know many students are, we have several exchange partner programs. That means a semester or a summer abroad at a university where we have a partnership. I've listed some of those here. We also have short-term faculty-led programs that can happen now in our January term or during the summer, including faculty-led programs that are taught by our Lead Abroad, taught through our Lead Abroad partnership. Those locations are also listed here on the slide. And then we have provider partnerships. So study abroad programs happen through businesses that provide opportunities for study abroad all around the world. And so it really expands the opportunities for Oglethorpe students to be almost anywhere and almost any time that's of interest to you. There are also internships, fellowships, and other types of postgraduate opportunities that I love to talk with students about. It may not be feasible to do a semester abroad, but maybe there's an opportunity post-graduation that you're interested in. And I have lots of resources and support in that area. And then many individuals will not get an opportunity to study abroad. The reality is nationwide, only 5% of students study abroad. And so virtual and local, meaning the global local connections, those experiences are accessible to every student. And so I really want to stress the importance of if study abroad is either not in your interest or not in your ability, it doesn't mean you can't have a global learning experience and leave Oglethorpe with the skill set and competencies that are necessary to work in a global marketplace. Start exploring now and start connecting with us now. We have a tool that we use for study abroad called Via TRM. It's our Petrels Abroad portal. You can get in there and start to explore virtual, physical study abroad programs. We publish our study abroad related events there, in addition to OU Connect and Often and Handshake, which are tools you're going to very quickly learn to use as a student, and that we'll talk a little bit more about. We also have a lovely group of international students who come from all over the world, some of those from our exchange partners, some of those like you pursuing academic degrees from 30 or more countries. And so I encourage you to make the most of that and recognize that as you're in classroom environments, working on teams, on an athletics team, working in a student leadership capacity, you're going to have an opportunity to have conversation and really expand your knowledge and worldview through those relationships. And with that, I just want to highlight a couple of these lovely pictures from students who have traveled and know that you know, the opportunity for you to be on this slide next year is there. And so I look forward to meeting you on campus in the fall and to supporting you with the goals that you have or helping you identify what those goals really are for your experience at Oglethorpe. Really quickly, just want to touch upon some of the community engagement opportunities. I'm not necessarily the person that will lead you with all aspects of service, but Oglethorpe's motto and our history of service is something that's really important to us. And so these are just a list of some of the organizations that we have had historical partnerships with. The reality is our students drive in many instances where we partner. So if you have a particular you know, interest in a partnership or a particular interest in doing an activity, we're going to find a partner in Atlanta that is going to help facilitate that or connect with an existing partner to see where that's possible. With that, I'm going to pass it over to Erin. Photos.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marissa. Welcome everybody to career development. That's just a baseline, so we can jump on past that one. Do I have power to change it? Yes. So again, this is our team. That's me, Nicole, our employer relations manager, and another fantastic person I hope you will get to meet soon, Stephanie Zalkowski. She is an alum, was an accounting major, and absolutely is an incredible part of our team. She volunteers as a career coach. And so she works with a lot of students on resumes and mock interview and getting ready for our career fair and employer relations kind of events and that kind of thing. So she'll be a great resource for you as well. We also have a great army of student workers, I'll just say, and a marketing internship that is open once you become a sophomore and get some classes under your belt. So just very quickly, our mission is to help students integrate their liberal arts education into their professional career identity. And so when you come and engage with career development, we talk about your values, who you are, your self-awareness, and of course, exploring career options and what the world has to offer when it comes to professional opportunities. We talk about internships, we talk about service, we talk about jobs, and how all those things and research and all the things that you can be doing outside the classroom and how they contribute to your career and professional and personal development. Now I cannot click. So real quickly, I'll just share some of our services. This is a lot of information. There's, of course, we work with students individually and in group settings. We host all kinds of workshops, and we host them virtually. We host them in person. We have plans to do hybrid events. So definitely keep an eye out for all the different programming we have. When we can, we do record things so that you can watch them asynchronously or after the fact. Lots of resources in career exploration through our website and through our handshake portal, which Nicole will share a little bit about later. Mentoring and alumni connections are such a huge benefit at Oglethorpe. Our alumni love this place so very much, and they are so eager to get involved. So there's lots of opportunity to do that. One of the big things that we started recently was Career Connections, and also our OU Insider series, which Career Connections is more flash mentoring. So you get paired up with an alum and get some time to ask questions and learn about careers and what work looks like and how do you use your Ogle experience to succeed in the working world. And OU Insider is a series where we have alumni come back and share all their insider information on what it's like to work where they are and what they're doing. So really fun things. Career resources in exploration. So our career courses are great ways to do that. Career development exploration is for anyone, no matter where you are in your career development, whether you're a first year or a senior. Senior Transitions is a course specifically focused for seniors and helping them move from college to that next step. And those are credit-bearing courses, so worth checking out. The usual resume, mock interview, professional branding, how do you communicate about yourself to employers in those high pressure situations. We have a free clothing closet with all kinds of awesome professional clothes. So when you come and see us, you can always check it out and take pieces home for free. And lots of different resources to connect with employers. We do traditionally have on-campus career fairs, though we will not have one this fall on campus, but we have a featured Employer Friday series, which showcases lots of employers who are hiring actively Oglethorpe students. And Handshake, again, is that go-to place where you're going to want to get connected. Next slide. So this is a big thing. Marissa shared that we want you to come in early, start talking to us early and often, and that is such an important tip. Your career development is a lifelong journey, and all the things that go into a college experience are a part of that journey, and your journey starts today. So be intentional. Don't let it overwhelm you. It's a lot. You don't have to know exactly what you're going to be when you grow up. You don't have to know exactly what you're going to do when you leave this campus. But start taking action now in learning, exposing yourself to different people and activities and experiences that can inform what you might want to do once you do leave Oglethorpe. So opportunities like study abroad and away, service, jobs and internships, research opportunities, on-campus jobs, all of those are great ways to start building a network, start learning what you love and what you don't love, and gain skills that are going to help you make yourself very marketable when you graduate. Cool. I'm going to turn over to Nicole. You could probably click one more time. I think there's more content on that slide.
Yeah, so be sure to connect with us. We do have an Instagram profile. It's at Oglethorpe Careers. We post a lot of our events that way. We love interacting with you guys in kind of a casual way there too. We also have LinkedIn, and be sure to check out all of our programming on YouTube. As Erin mentioned, Featured Employer Fridays, those series, along with many of our panels that we've done, are on our YouTube channel. And be sure to use handshakes. So there is a social component of it where you can kind of create a profile, upload your photo, and you can also upload your resume. We do some programming on there as well, but it's basically a database where you can search for off and on-campus job opportunities, as well as internships that are offered everywhere. So you definitely want to take advantage of Handshake. And then let's go to the next slide. All right, we want to say thank you, and we're always here for you. So be sure to contact us. Feel free to reach out to us. That is Erin's email address, my email address, and Stephanie's as well. And we're located in the A-Lab suite. We will be there in person, so we'd love for you guys to stop by, and you can make appointments with us through Handshake as well.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing it and go back and highlight that a slide that I anticipated being there that wasn't was our contact information. So I want to plug our OU Global, so OU Global Instagram account, and also highlight that there is a Global Ed playlist that is a subsection of the Oglethorpe YouTube. So if you go to the Oglethorpe YouTube channel, you can find an Oglethorpe Global Ed playlist underneath, and there's specific resources and videos, quick videos related to using via TRM, different presenters we've had on campus, information to help prepare for study abroad, information for international students, and celebrations of global learning. So please do go out and take a look at those. I answered one question already for the group, but there was a request for talking a little bit more about research opportunities. And I just want to highlight that right now we're focusing primarily on global education and on career development. Our faculty are predominantly involved in supporting students with research opportunities because they're the experts in that discipline area. We often partner with faculty, so there is global research. For example, one of our partners in Ecuador, which is one of the only ways to get to the Galapagos Islands, has significant amounts of research opportunities for students. But those are things that, again, global education would be promoting, and you would work with your faculty advisor to identify how to make that opportunity work best for you and your particular discipline. That's just one example.
I'll add to that real quick that sometimes students who do research with their faculty members will opt to get internship credit and get academic credit for that experience. And so that is something the Career Development Office can assist with as far as that process and what that really looks like. But that is something that could come down the pipeline if you're engaging in on-campus research or off-campus research. So I would like to go through and introduce our students. Marissa, do you mind sharing again? They each have a slide and picture and some of their cool things that they're really involved in. So we can kind of go through, and then I will let each student introduce themselves as their slide is showing. So we will start with Eileen.
Hi guys, I'm Eileen Estrada Palma. I'm a sociology major with the social work track, so social work minor. I am a current member of the OU Monarchs. So if you are Latino, DACA holder or non-DACA holder, once you're in person, I highly recommend that you look into it. You also don't have to be a DACA holder. You can just join in if you want to keep up with a lot of immigration laws and how to support your fellow Latino peers. And currently I'm interning at La Amistad, a local nonprofit. My leader is the volunteer coordinator. And really we just right now working with gathering more volunteers and getting after school programs ready for kids once they go back to in-person classes later in August.
Zuri, take it away.
everyone. My name is Zuri Johnson. I'm a rising junior at Oglethorpe, so third year. I'm a double major in film and communication studies. So if you have any questions about double majoring, I got you. And I currently am serving as a digital intern at InBooth. It's a remote internship, but the creative agency is actually located in New York, so that's pretty cool. And I do a couple of things across campus. I'm a residential assistant in Dempsey Hall, which is all freshmen with some exceptions. So if you're living there this upcoming year, I'll definitely see you. I'm also an admissions ambassador, so I might have given you a school tour before if you toured in the past school year or not. And I'm also the creative director of a new club called Dynasty, which was actually created by Ivy, which is another panelist here, but you'll hear from her in a second. So yeah, I'm excited to be here and answer y'all's questions.
Hello, everyone. I'm Alex Blecker. I'm a rising junior here, and I'm an economics and politics double major as well. So once again, if you also have double major questions, feel free to bring them towards me. Currently, I'm a research panel coordinator at the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, and that's an internship that's also going to be continuing through the fall. Previously, I also interned with the American Jewish Committee. On campus, I'm the vice president of economics club. So for all the business school people in here, I expect to see you at those meetings. I'm also involved with the Hillel here at Oglethorpe.
Hi, everybody. My name is Ivy Wicks, but I like to go by Ivy Divine. I'm a communications major with a focus in media studies, and my minor is film and media studies. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me too. I'm the president and the founder of Dynasty, driving your natural authority and staying true to you. So if you're creative and you're wanting to, grow and excel in your field, just let me know, or join our team. Follow us on Instagram. I'm also a member of the Collegiate 100, the OU Theater Department in the National Society of Leadership and Success, and I am a content creation and production intern at Steve Harvey Global, based in Atlanta, Georgia.
All right, so you've had a chance to connect a little bit or hear a little bit about our student panelists. I know there are some good questions that have been coming in the chat, but we're hoping you'll post a few more. That's how these panelists want to share their experiences with you. So please, if something piqued your interest about how somebody got where they are, or what in particular you're expecting to do at Oglethorpe and how we might recommend getting started, this is a great time to get crowdsource and get some input from both students and staff that can give you some insight. There was a quick question in the chat while I'm waiting for other things to come in about sign language programs. At this time, Oglethorpe doesn't have that as one of the languages that's being offered, but I do think it's something that if you have a particular interest, we can potentially look at what resources exist in Atlanta. There are all sorts of virtual related groups and teams, virtual language learning opportunities, and my guess is there might be others on campus that would be interested too, and maybe there's a way we could work toward having a student organization built up around that, or connecting students to pursue resources through the library that are available in an educational space.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. It looks like we have our first question in the chat. I do want to just shout out real quick, but since we just showed the slide with our Instagram, we already have 5 new followers. So yay you, getting started with your career development right now. Super proud of you, and hope we'll get some more followers from that. But to start off with this first question, which is a great one to get you involved in your career development. But a student asked, how do you go about getting involved with all the clubs? And I'm going to add to that, how do you leverage that experience in informing your career and professional development?
I think that I can take this first if anybody doesn't want to take it. All right, so how I basically, got involved with my club. So I remember coming in freshman year and going to that what is it, the involvement fair. That's a great way, but make sure that first of all, find some clubs that align with your, your desires and what it is that you want to do. And that way, because I came in, I was like, okay, I want this club, this club, this club, this club. And I had like 10 clubs, and I had to narrow it down and figure out what it is that, is going to cater to me and, help my experience at Oglethorpe University. And that way it'll become easy to balance, like, your time, because then you're only committed, instead of committed to like 30 clubs, you're committed to like 3 of them, so you can schedule around them. And then the clubs are, they their timing, it's not necessarily, oh, we have to meet every single day. They understand that you guys are in college, you guys have classes, you have an outside life. So it'll be very easy once you, narrow down what it is that you're looking for. It'll be very easy to adapt and to become a member of the clubs that you want to become a part of.
Yeah, and I can also say, as someone, like, I'm an RA and I'm also a student ambassador, which are things you have to apply to be a part of. I mean, it's a selection process. So I would say just check your email every Sunday around like the afternoon. Oglethorpe sends like a what's happening this week email. And that's how you get those interviews for this club, or even just check your email. That's what the real thing is, because that's when you'll get, oh, okay, we're looking for ambassadors. Apply to this link by this date and you'll get an interview. So that's how I got involved in a lot of stuff, even with like being an RA, got an email about it, and they posted stuff around campus. So definitely just know the password to your email, download the Outlook app on your phone, and you should be fine.
I could add that as for getting involved in clubs, you're also going to hear a lot from professors who really preach certain clubs. As like I said, I'm with economics club. So if you're in anything in the business, school, you're going to hear a lot about that. You're going to hear a lot about the other business related clubs on campus. But I'm sure, for every single major, there's certain clubs that fit those interests. So from that standpoint, it's a lot easier to get involved than you might think. And I'm also a commuter student, so in some ways it could be harder. But as someone mentioned, the clubs, we're not meeting like every single day. It's, maybe once a month, twice a month. So it's easy enough to get involved and really meet some new people.
Awesome. I found another question in the chat, and students, you can answer as you feel the question speaks to you, and if not everyone wants to answer a question, that's totally fine. Though I think many of you might want to answer this question. I'm going to say Alex is like a secret writer here. He didn't really make that known, but is. So his next question is, several of you seem to be focused on a creative career. How can a student go about finding an experience in writing-oriented careers? So feel free, anyone, to chime in as you feel.
Yeah, I can certainly speak on that. I didn't mention earlier, I also do freelance writing in my free time with like bylines in the Wall Street Journal, Washington Times, Washington Examiner. So I have some experience of opinion writing. Obviously, I don't know what type of writing you're interested in doing, but as for opinion writing, it's really comes down to becoming a little bit knowledgeable on a topic that you think you could write about, which, is great. You'll learn a lot from your classes, which will give you enough to write about. And then really just making an effort to reach out to editors is a big part of it. A lot of not cold calling, but cold emailing editors back and forth, and eventually someone will say yes.
I can also say 2 things. One, there's a lot of classes at Oglethorpe, and if I'm not mistaken, there's a writing major or minor, something. But I'm actually a film major, and I'm taking a screenwriting class this upcoming fall. So there's a lot of classes like that that are tailored to certain fields of writing. Also, we have a club or organization at Oglethorpe called Pegasus, which is basically like a communications type newsletter, Oglethorpe Communications emails. And you can apply to either take photos, write stories. It's basically like a virtual yearbook. So that's another opportunity for you to just get involved on campus in a club while also pursuing your career interests.
And also, just to like add one more thing, just to express the importance of networking, get on LinkedIn, talk to the Oglethorpe alumni. We have some people that are writers within that field, and connect and try to form those relationships, because you never know, they can reach out to you and be like, hey, you say you want to write, well, I have a position for you. So, just connect. Networking is very, very important, especially when in college, and especially trying to obtain roles in the creative field.
Yeah, outstanding advice to let people know what it is you're interested in, what you're wanting to try out. You know, the more that you're engaging with not just your peers, but peers, faculty, and staff to share what your interests are, what you're interested in trying to do, the more likely you're going to get some advice and some support, because that's what we're here to do, right? We're here to support you to achieve your personal goals, to achieve your academic goals. And so if we don't know what those are, or they're not regularly something that you're talking about, that information is not going to go anywhere but right here in your mind. So really super important. There was a question in the Q&A portion about working toward a double major. So one of the things that, you know, everybody, there's so much you can do, so many academic disciplines that you might be interested in. I think early on, making sure that you're not getting tied into a major and really trying to look at what is the curriculum that is going to apply across disciplines, so that it gives you a chance to explore, it gives you a chance to really solidify that interest. If it becomes a need or a desire that you want to have two majors, then you've already positioned yourself really well, because then you take those major classes. So I think, you know, going into it thinking that you have to take only classes required for this major is probably not the best approach. It's much better to look general to those courses that are going to be required for all degrees. And so that's easy to do at Oglethorpe. We have a system in place. There's an academic planning tool. And so you can map out and look at the courses that you're going to take by semester. You can add in internship or study abroad to your academic plan, and visualize and have that conversation with your academic professional staff. So whether that's your first year advisor or your faculty advisor when you go into your upper years. Great question. It's getting quiet in here. Let's talk a little bit more about how you came upon. I know you've all talked about a few experiences, a few things you've done. Go into a little bit more detail, I think, for those that are participating today about, you know, how long did it take? What was your timeline, or what were the particular strategies that you used that you think were most successful? Things like, how quickly did you have a resume? You know, did you have one from day one on campus, or did you build it over time? Anyone can get started on that question. Any of our panelists, you all have unique experiences and probably different tips that people can learn from.
Yeah, I could jump in. During my first year, I don't think I really had a resume or anything that looked close to what needed to be sent out to employers, but that's just something you build over time with experience and talking to people. It could be hard to get like your foot in the door sometimes. So to get your like first internship or first job, definitely reach out to A Lab. I was a supplemental economics instructor under Dr. Cower in the economics department, and that definitely gave me something to put on my resume, which was, I think, is a pretty big deal that you have just your first thing down, which is just came as an on-campus job. So something like that really allows you to open the door for other opportunities. And obviously the writing obviously helped me a lot to get interviews and talk about that.
I can speak a little bit. I also just peeped in the chat, so I'm going to answer that question about on-campus jobs too, because that helped me. So one of the things I did in obtaining my internship for the summer, I was going crazy on LinkedIn, but I didn't have any success from LinkedIn. It actually ended up being someone that had graduated when I was when I was a freshman, they were a senior at Oglethorpe. And so like it was around March, and I just reached out to them via Instagram, and I was like, do you have any internships at your job position? And they were like, yeah, I do. And they connected me, so I was able to get it. But on my resume, I actually had an on-campus job. I was a marketing and communications intern with the Office of Civic Engagement. And so you'll see, like, as you kind of go onto campus and like develop different relationships with different professors, some of them will ask you to like become an intern. That's how I got it. My Mediterranean cinema teacher actually is the head of the Office of Civic Engagement, and he emailed me over the summer and was like, do you want to come on as an intern in the fall? So really it is about like creating really lasting relationships with your professors, showing up to class on time, and letting them know that you are an efficient worker and you're not going to slack off, because then they'll want you to work for them.
I would say, just to, add in, I would say also utilize your resources on Oglethorpe's campus. I'm just going to preach about the career development team. Before I had the internship at C4 Global, I was the marketing intern for career development. So basically, like, I learned so many things, but one thing that I took away that resonated with me was the resume building. And I remember asking she's gone now, but I remember Asia and asking Erin, hey, can you review my resume for me? And they were like, well, this is too much. And you need to probably take this out, be more specific about this, certain role. So definitely utilize your resources. And then again, as Zuri emphasized, network and try, reach out to people and talk to people.
I want to put in a big plug though, because how you find those, I think it's this combination of doing what Zuri said, doing what Ivy said, and then using Handshake, the tool that exists where positions for on-campus, as well as internships and off-campus professional positions, they're all posted there, right? So there may be some informal internships or positions you find on campus, but for the most part, they're in Handshake. And so if you're not going in there relatively regularly to make sure that your profile is up to date, to make sure that you've checked for new positions that have opened this week, as campus opens, you can expect there will be several positions posted. And I say several, many positions posted, many. But that's not going to be the same in November. So be ready. Right? When you get to campus, consider what type of work you would like to do. I want to be really clear that the positions are going to be, varied. You may have a position, something in the admission office. There may be something with athletics or related to facilities or events. It may be an administrative or a communication, related position. So they are across the board. It may be something with the theater department or the museum or the library, right? So all of those academic areas are going to have some types of student employment. It's just what you're interested in doing. Our campus meal services and dining, those are positions. We have a new coffee shop that's going to be opening up down on the first level. Surprise, surprise, students. Sorry, that maybe that we shouldn't have come out so soon. But there's going to be, more opportunities that aren't just in a traditional office, right? So think broadly about what you'd like to do, what type of skill set you want to, develop. Maybe you're really good with writing, but you want to practice your communication and customer service. Well, then think about a job that's going to give you that opportunity so that you're expanding those skills.
Marissa, there's a question in the chat about funding study abroad. I would love for you to talk on that a little bit. And then I'll ask Eileen and Alex to maybe talk a bit about how some internship opportunities can get funded.
Yes. So just like no one size fits all for the type of study abroad program, there are several variables in a study abroad experience, right? So anything from the amount of time, 2 weeks to 2 semesters, whether it's physically in the location or virtual, right? So the costs of participating in a study abroad are going to range, very significantly. The financial aspects vary depending on the type of program. So is it a program with our partner with Lead Abroad or a faculty-led program? The type of federal financial aid or institutional aid, whether it applies to that program, is going to be based on that program type. So that's why advising and exploring options first, going out there and seeing what's available, and then coming back and talking with Global Ed about where your priorities are, where your needs are, and we start to sort of whittle out some of the options that may not make the most sense. Maybe it's that you thought this location would help you fulfill this goal, but in the end, I have some insight about a different type of opportunity, right? So the software, the tool is really just a starting point. There are several types of scholarships, and we have a whole event that will happen in October that you'll ideally get out there and attend, but it is literally an hour of talking about financing study abroad, different scholarship opportunities, different ways to make some decisions around the finances and decisions around what types of programs make sense financially for you, crowdsourcing, and then student panel talking about how that all worked for them. I do want to make a plug really quickly. There are particular scholarships that are targeted towards students who are underrepresented in study abroad. And that right now includes students of color, students who have maybe an accessibility need, LGBTQ students, men, because the reality is right now, 85 to 90% of students that are studying abroad are white women. They look like me, and that's not good for study abroad. That's not good for the country. So a lot of the scholarships that I'm going to promote really are going to be to try to take advantage of maximizing study abroad participation for our campus community. And so if you're eligible for the Gilman, if you're a first generation college student, I'm going to connect you to those scholarships. It's going to be harder as a white woman to find a scholarship that is around demographics. It's going to have to be around academics or a particular location. So just keep that in mind. There is a myriad of, or are a myriad of opportunities, but you're going to have to really filter through what fits for you and recognize that means planning. I do talk about and communicate about scholarships year-round when there are particular deadlines coming up for some of the big ones, like the U.S. Department of State Gilman Scholarship, the Fund for Study Abroad, the Critical Languages Scholarships. You'll hear about those big ones, but there are hundreds in between scholarship deadlines. We've been holding all summer Friday scholarship workshops where we help students really connect to scholarships, not just for study abroad, but just in general, because that's really what it takes. It's who are you? Tell me a little bit more about you. Okay, let's do some searches and try to connect you to places that are going to have opportunities around that particular thing. I do want to emphasize that I partner very closely with Chris Summers, the director of our scholarships and financial aid office. And ultimately, it's a partnership that is necessary. I don't have access to your federal financial aid, to your institutional aid information. And so sometimes my conversations are general, and then we partner with Chris where he can talk to you about what you've been paying as a student at Oglethorpe and how you can either match that, get lower than that, because sometimes that's really possible when you're studying abroad, or if you have the ability, cover additional expenses for an experience. That was a mouthful. Like I said, it's a lot of variables to it. So I think talking individually with us is really the best way to go.
Yeah, definitely a lot of variables with that. So one other area where we have some funding to help students, and this is something that's more in-house, is a scholarship for unpaid internships. Well, some internships that you can find both on and off campus are paid. Many times nonprofits aren't held to the same standards and don't have to pay students or aren't able to pay students for internships. So I'm hoping that Eileen and maybe Alex can jump in after to share a little bit about their organizations that they've interned for, about the scholarship, how they got it, and just talk about that a little bit.
Sure, I can speak on that. As for the Fed internship, that is paid and pays fine, so I don't have to worry about that. But my previous internship with the American Jewish Committee, which is a nonprofit, is an unpaid internship just for credit. So when I was reaching out to Aaron to get course credit for it, because one, you should always get credit if you're doing an internship. It makes it a lot easier because, it knocks off a requirement for a major, everything. She actually reached out to me and said that there's a great, scholarship for nonprofits. And I'm glad she mentioned that to me because it was an easy way to get $2,000 to help cover some expenses. So I really appreciated that. And also professors sometimes will also reach out to you with opportunities. There is a politics related scholarship that Dr. Knippenberg in the politics department reached out to me about. That was an easy way to get $1,500. So there's always little things that are in-house that you might not know about on the surface, but everyone will tell you about, and you should definitely take the advantage and apply because it's good money.
Yeah, I'll also add on to that. I am currently interning at a nonprofit, so it is unpaid. So I would say definitely be on Handshake, as we've all kind of emphasized, get on Handshake. If you are a student and you're looking into getting that nonprofit internship, the Paul Hackett Scholarship exists. Apply for it. There's, I believe, 2 different dates, one for spring, one for summer. If I'm not wrong, I think I'm right. Yeah. in fall. Okay, in fall. So there's 3. Yeah, so definitely look around for that. It'll be on your email. Check your email. um and really it's just going to, like, Alex says, it's going to facilitate it because you're getting credit for it, and you also want a scholar you want a scholarship. Yes, you want the scholarship, but you also want that internship. Even if it's not a requirement for your major, you still want that, like, true hands-on experience. Not every single major you're going to be able to really get to do what you do in a classroom in the job. So you do want that in-person experience. You want to work with, like, the real adults, see how they do their stuff, and, like, it really does prepare you. So if it's not a requirement in your major, I still recommend it. If it's in a nonprofit, the scholarships are there. Definitely apply for them. Um, you won't regret it. And I will take the liberty to answer one of these questions, which is balancing school and outside school responsibilities. I've been full-time student, part-time worker the entire time I've been at Oglethorpe. So what you want, and also, I guess, club member, what you want to do is just really prioritize your stuff. So when you're doing so many things at the same time, something's going to have to fall. So usually that's your social life, but that's what the clubs are there for. So I really recommend that you get an agenda. If you're worried about balancing that, get an agenda, write everything down. It might be a little annoying at first if you're not used to it, but it's going to be your best friend, just becoming organized. Yes, buy a planner, please. Buy a planner. It's going to help you so much, whether if you have a job or you have a school job, or you're just a full-time student and you're like a president of something. You just want to stay organized. You want to have that priority list. That's the reality of college. I'm making it sound bad, but it's great. You're gonna love it.
I can also say, as far as like, do you recommend working first semester? I know that might have been one of the questions. Listen, you can do it. I just would say wait till school starts, because for me personally, I finished my sophomore year. And even this past semester, I applied to work at Chick-fil-A before the school year, like before the semester started. And I told them, oh, I can work like 4 days a week, 20 hours. Little did I know they were going to schedule me 25 hours, 4 days a week, and it was a lot. And so I recommend really learning your school flow, because I recommend like that being your priority. And maybe after like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, then you can be like, okay, I know that I can fit time in here and here while also getting an efficient amount of sleep. Because if you start working too much, you're going to be too tired to go to class and put in effort. And I just recommend like waiting. But once, like, I think Alan said, I think that it can be done, just prioritize. And like that means with clubs too. I know that like out of all the things I'm in, being an RA is kind of up top there, because I know I have to be there for my residents. So if I have 2 club events on the same day, I kind of have to like have open communication between those 2 clubs to let them know. So really it's about time management. That's what I say all that to say.
So the only thing I'm going to add to this, and it's really because I haven't been a student in a while, but I've been working with students for a long time. You've got to try different things, right? What might have worked when you were in high school or living in a different environment may not work the same when you get to campus, right? You're going to have a different type of distraction. You're going to have different type of requirements. Maybe you've never had to do your laundry before, and this time you will, right? So there's going to be new things added to your day-to-day routine. I have a really great activity. If anybody wants to do it, I'm happy to share it, but it's a weekly log of where do you spend your time. You map it out and then you actually monitor. So you think you spend your time in this particular way, but when you actually monitor it and look at where you're spending your time, discretionary time, school, based time, academic focus time, work, eating, sleep, when you actually map it out and visually look at it, it's going to be really helpful to you and give you the ability, like Aileen and Zuri have already said, to prioritize, right? Because if you're thinking you only spend 20 or 30 minutes in the morning on discretionary time, and like me, you get reading the newspaper and it actually is more like an hour in the morning, Well, you start to make some decisions around, how you shift that, right? How you really set a timer, and I'm only going to read for 30 minutes before I start my day, right? Those are just some strategies, and that's my old person example, but you'll have some of your own.
I want to chime in and add to this a little bit. And I love that Suri's comment. Time management can be made easier with a planner. Yes. And good sleep so that you can think clearly. But, when it comes to looking for opportunities, jobs and internships, whether it's your part-time job you're going to do while you're in school, an on-campus job, or an internship, employers don't always work on the same schedule as a university, right? So you might think, okay, I'm planning out my courses for next year. I'm going to grab the internship option. I'm going to schedule myself to have an internship for fall 2022. But you got to start looking for that internship at least a whole semester in advance. Some employers, when it comes to full-time jobs, especially in that business world, will hire a full year in advance for a full-time job. So you're a junior and they hire you for a full-time job post-graduation. So that's something you want to be thinking about. That sounds like a lot of pressure, and not everybody is a whole year in advance, but you always want to be looking. So everyone's talked about Handshake. It's such a great resource to at least get you started with your job and internship search. Don't save it for right before when you think you want to get an internship next summer. Start looking now, see what's out there, see what was posted for this summer. As you start getting your OU login information, you should now start having access to Handshake. So you should be able to log in with your normal Oglethorpe username and password, but just start looking at stuff, start seeing what's out there. And if you find something interesting to you, apply to it. Don't wait, because the opportunity may not come up again. And students, if you have other advice related to all this, please talk.
Yeah, I would just jump in and add with, looking for internships for the future, see what your classmates are doing. And then, go to them and say, hey, like, how'd you get that internship? And then if it's something that's in your wheelhouse, say who's hired, who's in charge of hiring, who's in charge of that. So that's actually partially how I got my Fed internship, or at least how I got the interview for that. I knew someone who was previously at the position, and she was able to connect me with who's in charge of their talent, like a development person. So I was able to reach out that way. But Handshake is also great for looking at opportunities.
Also, oh, sorry, go ahead, Ivy.
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. I was just going to add on to that. If you're a part of, organizations like, the Collegiate 100 or, what is the name of it? It's the entrepreneurship one, basically groups that have, alumni or like adults that are in their careers that are basically, overseeing, see if they, know of any opportunities, see if they, can connect you with some people.
And also, sometimes what I did during the sophomore year when I was like, I don't know what type of internship I want, I would utilize LinkedIn and basically lurk on people's work histories. And I would see like, oh, I didn't even know this company had this internship. So lurking skills do come in handy when you use them effectively. So I think that's even how I found out about some of the ones I applied to, because there's a lot of people in Atlanta who started out as interns and then like they moved on to different positions. So lurk on LinkedIn.
You have permission to lurk on LinkedIn.
Well, and I want to put a plug for the work that Erin and Nicole do to have several types of alumni panels, sometimes very discipline specific, sometimes not, sometimes around a different topic or a different theme. But those are great opportunities to have to reach back out to that alumni and see if they'll do an information interview where you ask them for 15 minutes, 30 minutes of their time. People love to talk about themselves and how they got where they are. So hearing from a couple of alumni that are 10 years into their career or 20 years into their career is a great way to think about what your trajectory might be, or what some opportunities you haven't been thinking about are, that they exist, right? That those are things you could be thinking about.
Thanks for that plug, Marissa. And I want to go ahead and plug because now we're finalizing dates for 2 panels, but we're partnering with the Black Student Caucus and with Outlet to present some affinity-based panels regarding the world of work. And so we're going to bring in panelists from different identity areas, and they're going to talk about what work is like for them, all the different experiences they've had. So this is going to be a great opportunity for students to come in and hear from different perspectives and hear alumni and how they experience the world of work. And we're going to do many more of these panels over time, so to reach many different identity groups. And we are at about 3 minutes, so we could probably snag one more question, or we could maybe do a final thoughts from the students, final bits of advice. All right, I'm getting a nod from Marissa. So let's go ahead, each student, if you could kind of go through and say, like, what's that one nugget? Either something you wish you knew as a first-year student, or something that you feel like is just super important to share to help set our student viewers up for success in their next year.
I would say, well, really two things. First, talk to your professors. They really do want to talk to you and help you out. So just let them, go to office hours, talk to them after class. Just show them that you're interested in the material and love to learn more about, what they do. And also sleep. As everyone mentioned, you need to sleep,
I guess I'll go next. Besides like really getting on your organization skills, for, again, because I think I saw a message earlier about undocumented student opportunities. There are opportunities for you. There are clubs, and there are also direct people that you can reach out in terms of like, I'm not documented. How can I get assistance? Can I still intern? Yes, you can. And there's also assistance. You don't have to be a Latino undocumented immigrant to be able to get it. So there are opportunities, but again, also piggybacking off Alex, is just talking with your professors, talking with your advisors. And if you're a commuter like me, you're gonna have to just, put a little bit more effort, kind of linger a little bit if you can in campus to get those connections. But once you do and once you find them, you're able to keep up with them, and you're gonna be able to get those experiences that you want.
I'll say, don't be afraid to talk to people, especially your first week or move-in weekend for freshmen. If you're living on campus, everyone there is new. Don't feel like you're gonna feel weird if you go up to someone and sit at the table with them. And also talk to upperclassmen too. We're really nice. When I was a freshman, a lot of upperclassmen were talking to me, and that's how I got my internship this summer, was from an upperclassman that I knew as a freshman. So really, they aren't gonna turn you away and be like, ew, no, freshman. It's not like that here at all. Be open, get out of your room. As Naria, I'm saying that, get out of your room and don't be shy.
And for me, I would say, one, ask for help, because you aren't alone. Like, you're not alone. Never think that you're alone. There's always somebody there, or, you may run into a random person. You just say, hey, can you help me with this? Or, I'm feeling down. What are some tips or motivation? And then also for you guys sitting on those $1 million ideas, my nugget for you guys is to just start. Don't think too much. Just start, because you can perfect it later.
Outstanding.
I'll just share real quick in case you didn't see it in the chat. The Oglethorpe Idea Incubator is the entrepreneurship organization. So as you're starting those $1 million ideas and trying to perfect it later, the Oglethorpe Idea Incubator is definitely a great resource for mentoring and also funding. They do a Shark Tank-like event every year. So you can definitely get funding for your great ideas. Yeah. Go ahead, Marissa.
No, my last piece was just going to be, we're not all extroverts. I happen to like being in environments where I go out and meet everyone and talk to everyone. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to go out in big groups, right? Sitting with someone new at a table, seeing someone reading and sitting across from them and just saying, I'm going to sit across. There are all sorts of ways to engage. It doesn't necessarily have to look like, a super hyper social thing. And being authentic to who you are is how you're going to build those relationships. And Oglethorpe you know, the reason I love it here so much is that our students bring the uniqueness of themselves to this campus. And so you're not alone, to Ivy's point. And I just think reaching out a little bit and connecting, you're going to find somebody else who's similar enough to you that you feel good about hanging out with them and having those conversations. And each time you do that, you're going to feel more and more that you're getting connected, finding your way, and leveraging all of these wonderful experiences that the panelists have talked about.
Absolutely. Well, Eileen, Ivy, Zuri, Alex, thank you so much. Marissa, thank you so much. This concludes our event for this evening. We appreciate all your questions and your commentary in the chat. Students are putting in their contact information, so feel free to reach out. And again, this will be available on YouTube when all is said and done. So thanks, good luck. Can't wait to see your faces this fall.
Can't wait to see you in August.